Welcome to Funny Florida Females. I'm Clarice Kentwood.
And I'm Patti Hope.
And we're both comedians and Florida transplants. With this podcast, we hope to feature and celebrate what makes Florida's females so funny.
Very good. So, Clarice, we wanted to share with our listeners about what fun we had with our live taping at our last episode.
At the Joke Joint.
At the Joke Joint.
Yeah. It's always fun there.
Wasn't that way cool, though?
That was really cool.
Came out and cheered us on, and it was just
really we had a live audience.
Yeah. So while we were there, we were lucky to meet up with Joanne Vidal, who is one of the co-owners of the Joke Joint, and we just wanted to share some audio with you of our chat with her.
Yeah. All right, let's listen. We're live here at the Joke Joint in Summerfield, Florida, and we're pleased to talk with co-owner Joanne Vidal. Joanne, tell us when you first opened and a little bit about your genesis of the Joke Joint.
Okay, we opened Cinco de Mayo this year, 2023, and it was between a collab between Alex Soto and myself. We decided to do this because of his passion with comedy, and I retired, and we decided to just put our heart and soul into this venture.
How do you like it?
I'm loving it. I love the funny ladies of Florida, of course, and all the talent that comes through it. It's very enlightening.
Right, and you've been bringing some amazing talent here. It's amazing. Everything's always fresh and new at the Joke Joint.
Yes, we have the live music. We have music trivia, music bingo, drag show, midget wrestling coming soon, the hunks.
Exciting.
So there's a lot of fun things, and I'm very proud of this new baby of ours.
So what was your background before? What did you retire from?
The post office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 24 years at the post office. So I'm a hard worker to begin with, so I'd rather work hard for myself versus...
And you do work hard. You're hustling in there.
Yes,
girl,
I'm everywhere.
The place go.
Yeah, so I'm having a blast. It is a lot of work, but yet a lot of fun.
Well, we're really thankful that you came out to speak to us today. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll be right back with the main event.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we have an interview with Jess Torres. She's in her 20s, and she in her 20s just started her professional career in the entertainment industry as an actor. She's returned to the entertainment biz in a different art form, stand-up comedy. She's has a lifelong goal and dream for her. Over the last 2 years, over the last 2 years, Orlando-based Jess has become one of Central Florida's regular comedians performing in venues from coast to coast. Oh, how did you come to be a comedian, Jess?
That is a great question. I get it asked often. So, like I mentioned, it's always been a passion of mine. Like when I was younger, I've always watched stand-up. I studied acting, but it was always kind of like a bucket list thing. Like, I'd really like to do that one day. And, life happens, different things come to play, and your dreams kind of get pushed down, so that other people can achieve theirs. And about 2 years ago, my husband and I separated, and I needed an outlet. So...
A life change.
From pain comes comedy.
From pain comes comedy. Yes. So we were separated but still living under the same roof. And I needed a hobby. And all of the other moms were like, you should take up tennis. And I was like, I need more than 1 hour in the middle of the day. So I was like, well, I always wanted to do this thing. And so I dedicated like one night a week to it. So Sunday nights, I took a class at SAC in Orlando. I took like a stand-up comedy class. And then after class, the instructor of that class, Ollie Flores, would always say like, after class, I'm going for, food and drinks if anybody wants additional free class.
There you go.
You
could
like
the stuff you'll learn. The real deal.
Yeah. That's where the real conversation happens.
So yeah, the class was from 7:30 to 9:30. My son goes to bed at 9:30, so I was in no rush to get home. And so Sunday nights kind of just became like my nights. And I'd go to class and then, talk shop. We'd figure it out. Sometimes we'd go to Mike's and do different things. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Stand-up situation. And so I did it, and I performed my first time, and a lot of people came, and I was like, oh, I did it. And I don't do anything half-ass, full ass only. So I was like, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I feel like it went well. And, all my friends and family were like, you're going to keep going, right? And I was like, oh, like I just thought I'd do it. Like, that one time. And everyone's like, no, you have to keep going. With the exception of my mother. When I was done, she was like...
Mother's like, oh my.
Yeah, no, I was like, what did you think? Like, how'd I do? And she was like, did you get it out of your system?
Oh,
my.
Were you a little bluer than she was anticipating?
No, I got bluer as we went on, but not that first set. I was pretty even keel, and so I was like, okay. By the second time I did SAC, I said that, when I opened up my set, and I was like, my mom asked, this answers that question. I obviously didn't get it out of my system, and my mother's not here tonight. So
very good, very good.
So then it pivoted the set and my content a little bit differently. So yeah, that's how I originally got started. I just needed to be out of the house. And so I guess I got pretty good at it, and then my name got thrown around, and then I just started getting booked.
Good.
So,
Excellent. Yeah. So, so you said you pretty much travel all around the different markets in Florida.
Yes.
Well, so, and I find I've been doing it actually on my 7th comedy anniversary is coming up in a couple weeks. That there are definitely different scenes, like in different areas. Orlando kind of has its thing. And so do you feel like you need to tailor your material, or do you do different things, or how do you approach it?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think theater training kind of helps with that, because when I get to whatever venue, especially if I've never played the room before, I kind of like read the room, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I should do this joke here. Like, I kind of like survey what's happening before I start talking, and I'm kind of, sometimes it's hit or miss. I will say, like, one of the most odd markets I think is Cocoa, only because there's like people who are very left and very right, and you can just like drive a mile down the road and you don't know what you're getting. It's kind of like, well, they liked me, at this kava bar, but then at this fish broil they don't, like, so it's kind of
that's
like
very right.
Like you're not quite sure what's going to happen, and people's opinions. I always joke, it's kind of like, if your kids like me, then you probably won't, like, so it just depends on like the space.
Do you do political humor, or do you stay away from that because of the polarity of...
Correct. So I'm not a political comedian. I do make nods to politics in my set, and it's quick and it's brief, but literally every time, like, someone will be like, that's why you're divorced, or whatever, and I'm like, well, okay, like, thanks for sharing.
The groans or the quick crickets. Like
crickets.
You've seen me on stage for 10 minutes. I'm glad you're able to assess
most men do that. They'll say that, or like, I played Bonkers last weekend, and it was my first time featuring at Bonkers, and everybody was so nice. And the first night, this one lady just came up to me after saying, she was like, women shouldn't talk about politics.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my.
And I didn't think I heard her correctly, because she was inebriated. So I was like, I apologize. What did you say? And she's like, women, they shouldn't talk about politics. And I was like, okay. But literally the only thing I said that night in regards to politics was, my dating standards, because I'm single. So I have a joke about like, like my non-negotiables are the hard R's. And my hard R's are... Republicans, Ron DeSantis, racism, rifles, and rape.
Oh, wow.
and people are always like, huh? And I'm like, yeah. So then afterwards, it's kind of like, well, why are you upset? Are you into me and you're Republican? No,
right.
Sorry. Like, I mean, that's kind of like as political as I get.
And I mean, and the idea that they're more upset about the Republican than the rape.
Yes,
right?
And so that's the joke. So the joke,
oh boy,
yeah, the joke is actually, I was on dating apps for a very brief time, and this was an actual conversation I had with someone on a dating app, and he wasn't being very clear, and he was like, what do you want? What are you into? And I was like, what am I into? And I was like, can you be a little bit more specific? And he said, what are your non-negotiables? And so I said all the hard R's, and he said, all the hard R's. And I said, yeah, Republicans, Ron DeSantis, racism, rifles, and rape. And he typed back, rape? And I went, this is where you'd like to start? And so that's kind of like one of my jokes.
Problem? Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I obviously instantly deleted the apps because I'm kind of like, this is what's going on here. It's kind of like that man, like he went through everything. It was just like, rape. And it's like, yeah, I'm not into it. Like you asked me my non-negotiables, so.
Like, and that's shocking.
Might as well get it out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
You're
just
not
be
into
transparent,
that.
you know? Like,
Right.
I mean, to each his own. You know, I'm not here to kink shame, but like, you know, I'm just letting you know that's not my space.
I love that.
Do you do you find that being a comedian, a female comedian, and surrounded by men, do you like get hit on being single now?
Yes.
Like, is that an issue, or are you single and kind of okay with it?
I mean, I wish I'd get hit on more by people in the audience, not comedians. You know, for a number of reasons. Top of the list, like dental insurance. Like, you know,
Very good.
it's like I'm not going to date anyone who has no benefits.
Right,
like, you know, like that's not. But you know, in all seriousness, like I really, even though it's a hobby, I treat it as my part-time job, and so I wouldn't date any coworkers. And you know, there's several lovely people in this industry, but I mean, as you ladies know, we all get into it for some reason, and you know, we all have our little dark clouds as well. And I mean, I obviously come with my own. I don't want to have a thunderstorm, so it's kind of like I don't want to date another comedian. And
let's
it's like,
face it, yeah, right.
yeah, we're just like walking around like, you know, two sad saps.
So, exactly.
It's not sexy.
It's not happy. It's not funny.
It's not. Yeah, and yeah.
Although
there's
farting in bed is allowed. Yeah, that's true.
yes, but there have been, you know, situations, and it's just so interesting.
One good thing.
Because like they don't, I don't know, like it's. I mean, misogyny is alive and well in the comedy industry.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie, but I think that's in any market. So I'm in a strange space where I'm older, but I look younger. So it gets dicey by the way, like people approach me because I'm older, but I'm new to comedy. But I look like I'm part of a younger scene.
Yeah,
and so
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very like weird balance to have. And so sometimes, you know, one of these young men will say something and I'm kind of like, excuse me. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot you're a woman. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a girl. Like, you know,
Like, I'm a mother.
yeah,
you
respect
know?
me. Yeah, like I had a whole child. Like, you know, but yeah. And then I also have like a lot of rules about that too. Like, I have a joke where like everybody's like, what's your age cut off? Because I'm 40 and I'm kind of like, I don't let anyone push in. I could have pushed out. So anyone like
That's cute.
yeah, anyone like
that.
under
I don't
28
let
is
anyone
like,
push in
ouch,
that I
you
could have
know?
pushed out.
Yeah, no.
Do you do material about your son?
I have one political joke that people, I mean, they don't like, but he's heard it. But it's about school shooters and like how it's a fine line of, you know, how as a parent, I mean, the odds are it's just facts. Like my kid is going to school with a school shooter, right? Like that's just
More than likely.
I mean,
God.
that's just life. Like, you know, so there's a way, like, as a parent that we have to navigate that. There are some people who are, you know, left of center and you're like, I don't know. I don't like the way, like, Jacob looks at him. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you want to be nice to that kid, but not too nice. So it's kind of like I do, like, this whole joke about, like, the dance that, like, I have to do as a parent. And then, you know, I basically say, like, I want them to get along and so much to the point that like he spares my son's life.
He doesn't
brings
hurt
them
you.
to school.
Right.
And people just like, it's funny because the parents or
Is that when
millennials
we're
or
crickets?
no, like people my age or parents will laugh because they're just like, it's true. Like we have to laugh because it's sad. But people who are like an older demographic, like
They
boomers
gasp.
or people who own guns, they're kind of like, that's not funny. And I'm like, because it could kill my kid. Like, it's like, you know, why are you mad? Like, this is just my
little
reality.
dark humor.
Yeah. I'm like,
All right,
listen,
we're
I'm
gonna
just
have
living the
to
experience.
take a little break here at this point to get some news in from one of our sponsors.
It's also the same thing with AI.
What are some of your like goals for the future in comedy?
That's a great question. I feel like I achieved my goal like last year by even doing it, and I'm
Sounds like you did.
Yeah, I feel
Absolutely.
so like blessed to even be where I am. I think I'm still shocked like this day. Like if I get
doing
booked on
great.
something,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're in
wow,
bonkers,
like
yeah.
that's so great. And then now too, just like the whole word of mouth thing, like where it's changing, where it's like the rooms aren't booking me, or like headliners are requesting, like, oh, we'd like you to open for me, and I'm kind of like, me? Oh wow, thank you. Like so that's kind of exciting just to find out who my pockets are, like who my tribe is, or whatever, who correlates, like, so that's very exciting. I mean, I'd like to do more traveling. Like I'd like to be all over Florida. So I mean, I have some connections in Jacksonville. I haven't done that yet, and I want to check out Miami, even though, no offense, South Florida, I just really don't like South Florida. But I mean, I just want to check out the comedy scene and just
there's
see
a
what it's like.
vibrant scene there.
And then just see where it goes from there. I'm just humbled and grateful for everything.
Is it harder being a mom to do all that traveling?
It is, but it keeps me structured, and so I think another reason why I'm successful is like I'm just very structured in how I do it. So the way my son, the way I split him with his father is 50-50. So if someone's like, hey, can you do this date? And I don't have him, then it's like really easy for me to be like, yes. But if it's a date I do have him, I can say no, but I can immediately offer other dates. So, like, I'm actually not available this day because, to be honest, like a booker doesn't need to know. Like, I could have another show. I could, I'm actually booked that day. How I'm booked, not that you're concerned, but like I'm booked being a mom. But so that's been very easy for me to like book out in advance and to do that sort of thing. So I've got a really good structure with that. Now, I mean, I also have like a 9 to 5, so that sometimes gets dicey. But yeah, just figuring it out. But
Is your 9 to 5 in entertainment, or is it?
it is not. I wish it was. I feel like I've lived many lives, but post-pandemic, it was kind of like, I think everybody pivoted and restructured. And so the job I do now, I had done it in previous careers, like as part of my role, but not completely. So I'm a recruiter now. And in other roles I've done in the past, recruitment was part of my job, but not my only job. So just doing straight recruitment is new. So I've been doing that since 2021, so like 2 years. And, that's good and it works. And pre-pandemic also, I never had a 9 to 5. So it was kind of like my schedule was different week to week. I was managing a lot of different things. So everything happens for a reason. Like I would never have been able, with my like previous schedule, my previous life, my previous husband, been able to, do stand up. So
Whole new well.
all new.
So is there something about the whole thing that you don't like? What's your least favorite thing about being in the scene?
In the scene,
Female or otherwise?
I think, I'll just speak for the Orlando market. Like, I think one of our strongest markets right now is Melbourne. And a lot of us drive to Melbourne a lot. And it's because Melbourne has mics and showcases every night.
Oh, they do, really? Oh, so I didn't know that. So they're
And
hot now. Because Orlando was like that. But
we
it's
don't.
kind of lost it,
like
yeah.
we have, like, there's nights where there's no comedy.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And it's very
That's
hard.
changed.
It's
Pre-COVID, that Orlando had, you could go like up 3 times a night, literally. You could
Right.
go to an early,
and that's how Melbourne is now.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
I didn't know
Orlando's
that.
kind of like difficult sometimes because like, oh, like, if you
Fascinating.
have, a show that you want to do and you're like, oh, I want to practice at a mic, and it's like, there's no mic. So some of us will like carpool occasionally, like, oh, well, let's drive to Winter Haven or let's drive to Melbourne.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
cool.
just so we're able to do it. But I think the lack of like accessibility sometimes is difficult. Not for showcases, because we are abundant in showcases, but just actual like mics.
Practice, yeah. Gotcha.
Is there anything else that you want us to know about?
No, I like this so much. You guys are so cozy. I think everyone who's listening should know this is like a very cozy, comfy environment.
Creator's Cottage here.
Yeah, I love it.
So tell us how people can connect with you and see where you'll be. And what's happening?
Oh, sorry. There's children in the other room.
Something in
Not just
the,
mine. There's others too. You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is pretty_funny comedy. That's pretty_comedy. Excuse me. Pretty_funny comedy. I also have a YouTube channel, Jess Torres Comedy, and I'm also on TikTok under Jess Torres Comedy.
All right. Very good.
And we'll have all those links in the description.
Yeah, in the show notes.
The show notes and such.
Very good.
Will you stay around to discuss a funny Florida woman?
female. We're doing
Of course I will. Of course
Florida
I will.
woman
Let's
segment.
Florida
go.
woman.
Of course.
All right.
Let's go.
Here we go. Oh, I have it open, I think. I need my glasses. Hang on.
Patty's
Okay.
going to read the article
Here we go.
for us.
Oh, yes. Thank you for the photo for content.
Isn't she great? No, the pictures are always great.
Christ.
According to the Miami Police Department, 44-year-old
It's always
Sandra
Miami.
Jimenez was taken into custody last Saturday and is facing an aggravated battery charge for the attack. Okay, and here's what she did. Jimenez's arrest report stated that, let's see, she has a boyfriend of 8 years. They were having an ongoing argument that escalated throughout the evening. And once the couple got home, she jumped on top of him when he laid down on the couch with 2 rabies needles that were there for their dog. The 44-year-old reportedly pierced her boyfriend's right eyelid in the altercation with one of those rabies needles. He left the residence. I guess she did too. Anyway, the police came. And there she is. So anyway, there you go. Rabies needle in the eye.
Sweet cheese. Okay. Well, I have a couple things to say about it.
It's something for you to think about in this, if you're in the dating world.
The accessibility to, first of all, let's play devil's advocate here. Her boyfriend for 8 years. Mm-hmm. Poor thing. Figure it out. Who knows? At this point, they're not married. They're not even common law. She probably had.
Clearly, there's lots of drama going on. Yeah.
There's something going on that it was
something
warranted. But the fact that was what she chose, you know what I mean, at the ready,
In the range,
it
yeah.
was
In the
must
rage.
be premeditated.
Yeah.
That if he makes me mad, I'm gonna it wasn't like a knife. It wasn't like a nail file. It was you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to grab a rabies needle. Who is doing that?
And you have to uncap that. That's not just readily
Right, there's a
available,
little
right? You'd have
thinking
to,
involved.
undo that.
Or she's seen something like Grey's Anatomy or something. It was it will harm him but not kill him. I feel like this is very, very thoughtful. She was very thoughtful about her planning.
Maybe she just wanted to make sure he was vaccinated, had all his shots, right?
Correct.
That's a criteria for me. That's one of my criteria.
And honestly, the
You have to have all their
headline
shots.
kind of gave the impression that, I originally, before reading the article, thought that she stabbed him in the eye with a needle that had rabies.
That's what I thought.
Versus
the
yeah.
vaccine.
But I forgot the most important part. He was looking at another woman. It was the jealousy that.
Okay, so here I'm not excusing. I'm not excusing any of this, but let's give some layers of context. I am Latina. This woman is Latina. This is what we need to know. And I've watched a lot of true crime. Men kill white women. That's what it is. And Latina women harm men. We don't kill them. We just make them uncomfortable for an extended period of time. And that's why I'm telling you, she was so thoughtful because she was like, you know what? If I kill him, I look as crazy as a white man. But if I do this, it's just kind of don't mess with me, and he's uncomfortable for life. And so people, if he loses his eyeball or whatever, what a story. How did that happen? Well, let me tell you. So Latinos we're so specific of how we'll remember this. Don't forget me. And so that's what she was going for. She was like, this is what I'm doing.
Instead of the stiletto, in his chest.
No. It was kind of no, I'm going to make him live, but uncomfortably. Forever.
That's so funny. I love it.
So I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying.
It does say that he was
it.
treated in a local hospital, but it doesn't say how he made.
He's
out.
alive
He's
because that's what she
alive.
wanted. She wanted him to be alive. She wants
but
him
not be able to see any other women.
Only through one eye.
There's
now.
something very symbolic about that. Yeah, with the jealousy piece.
Eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye, right?
She was into it.
Very good.
That's crazy.
All right. Well,
Do you want to?
I think we're ready to wrap up another episode.
Yeah.
What do you think, Clarice?
Yeah.
I thought this was really fun.
This
we really
was a lot of
enjoyed
fun.
talking
I had
to
so
you,
much
Jess.
fun. Thank you
so
guys
much
for
coming up.
having me. I appreciate you.
And we'd like to thank Leo Zuniga for producing this podcast, Eddie Buscana, who is our AI specialist and media support, and our sponsors, of course, for their support, as well as all of you. We'd like to thank you for listening to Funny Florida Females Podcast.